Hello everyone, it's Tracy here. In today's video I am going to be using lots of die cuts, and I'm going to show you how to kind of add dimension to them by coloring them with Copic markers. So as you saw, I have the Delicate Blossoms die from Memory Box along with the arch stems, and then one from Paper Smooches called Crystal Clear 3. And I just chose one of the vases that I was going to use. And then I am cutting these out of Coordination's 110-pound cardstock. So I just went ahead and put some washi tape on those, and then I will run them through my Cut-O-Bug. And I did run them through twice because it's a thicker cardstock, so I just really wanted to make sure that they were die cut, especially because they are kind of more intricate dies. So then I'm going to go ahead and color those with my Copic markers. And I'm just working on a piece of white computer paper. And I'm starting with the stems. So I'll go ahead and color those in with the YG67, which is a moss green color. I didn't do much shading or anything on this one just because it's such an intricate die and there's not really that much to it. So then I'll go ahead and color in the vase, and I'm using my C3 or C1, C3, and C5, which are the cool gray colors. I'm coloring in with the C1 at first and then adding some of that shading in with the darker colors. Alright, so then when I work with the flowers, I'm just taking a piece of washi tape, and you can see I have the sticky side up, and then I'm taping both ends down with the washi tape, and that way I can just stick these die cuts onto the washi tape and then it'll hold them into place while I'm coloring them. It's just easier because they are so tiny, and then your fingers don't get in the way. And I didn't put them on the washi tape completely, so some of them did start coming off. So since the washi tape isn't very sticky, you could put the whole thing on the washi tape and then it will stick better. You can see how that one kind of came off. But then I'm just going to go ahead and color those in with my Copics as well. Alright, so after I finish coloring those, I'm moving on to another part of my card. I have the Lawn Fawn Let's Polka 6x6 paper pad and the largest stitch rectangle from Simon Says Stamp, and then the next size down of the die and a piece of vellum. So I'll go ahead and cut the larger rectangle out of my patterned paper, and that's a yellow striped paper. Alright, and then I can go ahead and run my piece of vellum through as well. Since I have my Cut-O-Bug out, it's just easier to kind of do more die cutting all at once. And then those two will be layered on top of each other, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on the piece of vellum. So I'm just going to take my die cuts and kind of set them into place where I want them to go. That way I will know where to stamp my sentiment. And I'm stamping that first because I am going to heat emboss it, so I just don't want my die cut to be on the vellum at the same time. So I am using the Love Mom stamp set from W+9, and I'm actually making this card for my grandma, and this for Mother's Day. And this stamp set doesn't have like a grandma sentiment, so I'm just going to use the Love You one, and then I can write the message on the inside. So I'll go ahead and stamp that with Versamark ink because I am going to heat emboss that. First I'm going to take my powder tool and just go over that to make sure I don't get any stray embossing powder pieces on there. And if you were not making this for Mother's Day, you can always add a different sentiment like a birthday card or anything like that would go really well with the flowers. And then I'm just going to put my gold Zing embossing powder on top of that. And then I can go ahead and tap off the excess and then heat that up with my heat tool. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere my die cut pieces onto there. So I'm using some Tombow Mono Multi Glue, and I just put little dots on there. You don't need very much adhesive at all. You could also use like the Xyron sticker maker with this. That would be that way you don't have any glue squeezing out of the edges or anything like that, and it'll just be a little bit cleaner. I'll go ahead and adhere the other piece on. And then I will adhere the flowers together. So there's the little yellow insides of the larger flowers. And you could cut this again too and add them to the smaller ones if you want, but I just liked them on the larger flowers. And then I'm just going to place some small dots on each of those stems and then use my quick stick to pick up each of the flowers and set them into place. And I glued that smaller one on the bottom, but I decided I didn't want that one there, so I just picked it up because it wasn't dried down or anything yet. And then I actually just took my scissors and cut off that stem. It makes it really easy to do since they are so small, and just because I didn't want that one on there because it didn't quite fit. And then I can go ahead and adhere my vase. Alright, so now I'm going to assemble my card together. So I am taking my pattern paper, and then I'll go ahead and adhere that onto a white A2 size card base. I just took a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and cut it in half the long way, and then folded it in half, so it's a top folding card. And if you can't tell, I just got these stitched rectangles. I've wanted them forever, but I just purchased them, and so now I'm using them on like every card because I just love the stitched edge on them. And then I have this 1/8 inch score tape. It's super skinny, and so you don't see it very much, and I added it to the back of my vellum to adhere that piece down. As you may know, vellum is really hard to adhere down because pretty much everything shows through. So what I like to do is just add it to the back of the die cuts and the sentiment, and usually that's plenty. You don't need to add it all around the edges or anything like that. And this is a really strong adhesive, so it sticks really well. And I am using my non-stick cutter bee with these just because I don't want to gum up any other scissors, and these work really well cutting like adhesives and stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and adhere that into place. Alright, so for a few finishing touches, I'm going to add some white sequins. These are from Pretty Pink Posh, and I have 2 different sizes. And I'm just scattering those a little bit above the flowers and then some kind of below my sentiment. And then I'm going to adhere those into place with my Tombow Mono Multi Glue. So I'll just put a dot of adhesive behind the back of each one. And then for now I just set the sequin on top, and then I'll go back later and push all of them into place after I get them all glued down. Alright, and then to the flowers, I'm going to take my Wink of Stella glitter pen and just add a little bit of that to each of the flowers. It just adds a little bit of something to them, and they make them sparkle a little bit. And then the last thing, I am going to add some glossy accents to the vase. Just kind of makes it look more realistic and adds a little bit of shine to the card. And like I said, you could use this for any occasion if you just change up the sentiment. And I'm going to either write a message in the middle or just stamp with alphabet stamps that says like Happy Mother's Day, Grandma, or something like that. I'll have to see when I get to that point. And then that is my finished card for today, so thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Bye!